Hello, everyone. This is Laura from Married with Comics, and I have the most exciting guests here with me today. So, I have been talking to you all in 3 separate videos about stray dogs because, to me, I agree that comic books have definitely gone to the dogs in 2021 thanks to these amazing comic book creators, Trish Forstner and Tony Fleecs. I am insanely excited to have you both here. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
So, both of you had been doing artwork and writing for My Little Pony, but then you end up jumping to this dark and twisty story, Stray Dogs. What made you take the huge leap?
I've always illustrated not just My Little Pony, okay? So like anything, cartoon characters, anything. And I'm a fan of animation, so a lot of darker animation and stuff like that. Like Don Bluth films, that was a huge inspiration for me, you know, growing up and as an artist. I like that sort of thing. But yeah, My Leap wasn't very hard. I like to draw little animal characters all the time, and this was just right up my alley.
Yeah, for me, it came from the comics I read and the stuff that I write tended to skew more adult, but I've always drawn very cartoony. And so it was always sort of like this, I found myself in this weird middle place where the stuff that I would think up wouldn't match the way that I drew. And so this was sort of one of the first times where it was ever, I had a perfect idea for a cartoony style where it's a darker idea and like a more adult idea. But it came out of all the time working on My Little Pony, because before spending so many years doing that, when I would have ideas about stories, I would never think like, what if this was told from the perspective of a dog? Or what if this was told from the perspective of a pony or a goat? And so that definitely came from just having my head in that place for so long.
So one of the other big things that, you know, we've talked about a little bit is some people are aware that your dogs actually make appearances in the original Stray Dogs series. Were there certain ways that you sort of drew those two characters to kind of make sure that they're inspired by your actual dogs?
Well, I know that I added, like, Eve has a little floppy ear, you know, so I kind of gave that character, she's super fluffy, especially around the neck. So, like, you know, if you look at Roxanne in the book, she's super fluffy. It's almost like a scarf. But yeah, I gave her those.
I wrote her like the sexy girl dog, and well, not like sexy, but like there's always like the girl dog in cartoons that's like the one that you just like, oh, that's the girlfriend, you know, like. And so I always wrote her as like the girlfriend dog. You'll see when you read the new stuff, like there's a lot, she's a lot more fun, I think, in Dog Days than she gets to be in the main series. Yeah, and then my dog Juno is my ex's dog, is who Other Henry is based on. He's real goofy in the book because Juno was a real goofy maniac. All the goofy stuff that happens, I sort of gave to Other Henry.
Were you too nervous at all when you were, you know, pitching the idea, or when you were writing Stray Dogs, about how readers would react to these absolutely adorable dogs that are sort of caught in the wrong house?
Yeah, we were talking right before the camera. Right before the camera went on, we were talking about how you had done a video about had Stray Dogs gone too far, and like we weren't worried about like image or anybody saying like you can't do that because they'll let us do whatever. But we were worried about like, this is a story about cute cartoon dogs, and if we want to do the story we're trying to do, we have to do certain things. But you know, like if people showed up for how cute it is, are they going to be able to stick around for when it gets crazy and when it gets dark? We were heartened and grateful when the point when we thought people were going to run away is actually when people showed up, which was weird. You know, like there were hardcores early on, like you were there early on.
Yeah.
But a lot of people showed up after issue 3, which was bizarre to us. But thank you. thanks to people.
There was like a whole point in time where we were kind of really worried about it. Are people going to show up? Are they going to leave us? Are we going to be abandoned? Like so many stray dogs.
Yeah, we knew like the original series didn't sell crazy, but we knew at a certain point, like we sold enough that if we don't make money on 4 and 5, we'll be able to get the whole story out. And so that was sort of like the point of no return we were trying to get to. Like, we were definitely concerned about it, and we're glad that not only did people stick around for it, but like people in reviews and like talking to people that read the book, they'll say like they understand why the story got dark like it did, because it was, you know, like the story we were telling had to have stakes and had to have consequences, you know. Otherwise,
but they add the caveat. They do add a caveat. They still hate you.
Yeah, exactly.
They still hate you. But We
That's
know
fine.
it was. We know what you had to do.
Well, which of course leads to the next most important question, so we had a tripod. So of course, Victor is one of our favorite characters. So was there any special inspiration for Victor the tripod for the original series?
He's named after a guy I went to like weight loss class. I called it fat class, but I'm trying to use the correct nomenclature, like healthy living class through my insurance. And it's like a group thing. And there was a guy in there named Victor who was just like the sweetest soul. And I just felt like when you met him, you're just like, I hope everything goes okay for this guy, you know? And that was sort of the character that I tried to create, or that we tried to create with Victor, was just sort of like somebody that you immediately look at and you go like, well, if anybody makes it out of this thing, I hope it's this guy, you know? And so like, not to spoil our comic book, but like we obviously intentionally made Victor very lovable and very vulnerable and sweet. And yeah, it was on purpose. You know, when you're watching something, if you're looking for the trick, like if you see somebody that sweet, you're just like, oh, you know, like this is not going to be good.
I know what I'm watching. Let's go.
Hopefully we didn't tip our hand, but he was sort of born to to die.
Oh.
No, you guys didn't, honestly, because I mean, at the beginning, of course, he was lovable and really, really sweet, but I don't think any of us really expected anyone to die at that point. So we knew that there could be some sort of consequences for the dogs. There could be injuries, but that's why I did the review so quickly, because I'm like, this is the turning point. So if we're heading here as of issue number 3 and there are 2 more to go, ooh, it's going to get interesting. And I think that surprised a lot of audiences, because you're right, with the artwork, it's adorable and it's cute, and it almost takes you, you know, by surprise when suddenly you see the images. But you guys also did a fantastic job of not pushing that too far and just getting really, really gruesome with it and showing us too much, which I really appreciated as a reader.
You know how like when a Disney movie comes out and then they put out something that's like based on the movie? It's kind of like that. Like you're reading a movie adaptation.
We've heard rumors that there will be a movie adaptation. Is that going to be the next project, you know, after the comics?
No, we're not sure what's going on with it right now. It's been optioned by Paramount, and it's just sort of out there right now. Like in Christmas time, nobody does anything in Hollywood, so it's who knows. But presumably, eventually there will be a movie. We're like consultants on it. We're not like heavily involved, but it is a good friend of mine is the producer on it, and so we'll be in the mix. But our next projects, I'm working on a couple of books for 2022, and Trish is going back into ponies right away, right?
Yeah, I've got back in the ponies, and there's some other stuff that's kind of out there, not firmed up yet, but gonna be busy.
And what I find absolutely fascinating is that you two even mentioned the possibility that the series wouldn't even fund to get to the end. And of course, in contrast, I mean, it's had such huge success. Why do you think people kind of grabbed onto this series so much? Do you think it was, you know, how many different horrorhomage covers that you did and some of those variations? What do you think kind of created the success?
I think it's a killer story. I mean, there isn't anything else like it out there. To me, I mean, that's you know, when people finally actually read it, instead of just bagging on how many covers there were, they understood what we were trying to do, and you know, they got it right away. I think to me, it's the story. It's very elegant, simple. You know, it's got a lot for everybody. Everybody finds something different in it. People have different theories about the master. They have different theories about this dog or that dog, and that's great. I like when people come to me with their theories.
I think it's a combination. I think it was like a word of mouth. Like I think Trish and I made a really good comic, and I'm very harsh on myself as far as like all the work that I do. But on this one, I'm just like, no, that's real good. Like, you know, I'm not ashamed to say that we made a really good thing. And it's one of those rare cases where somebody made a really good thing and people all found out about it, you know? And I think they found out about it because we kept having to go back to press and do more printings. And when we did more printings, we did those horror covers and those. So it was sort of like, on the one hand, we caught readers, and on the other hand, we caught, you know, speculators or people that just like horror movies or people that like to buy variant covers or whatever, but it was sort of like a perfect storm. And it was because the word of mouth landed at the same time as Trish and I are both real hustlers as far as like working hard. And so when Image would say, hey, we got to do another round of reprints, we'd go, okay, well, we're going to do all new covers, and we would knock those out really fast. And real weird, perfect storm. I don't think there's a way to replicate it, which is unfortunate, because if I could do this every time, I would do this every time.
Yeah, we could come out, hit home runs, and just,
Yeah.
rest. Be cool.
I'm still waiting for stray cats. That's my goal.
We tell people that when we get broke, that's when we'll do it.
Yep. Stray bunnies. Look for bunnies.
So, I mean, the horror homage covers, the thing that's been really unique is that there's a whole different variety of art styles. So you have the horror homage covers, then you have the Disney homage covers, then you have some different art styles, some that are more realistic, some that are more surreal, watercolors. What do you all feel when you see all these different varieties, shown of your work kind of being represented by artists that are certainly well-known like skottieyoung and newer artists like djhall?
Oh, I'm mind blown. Seeing anything I created drawn by somebody else, that's like next level.
Yeah,
it's a whole nother universe.
We sort of give the retailers, I think we probably give them more rules than most other creators give them. It has to be a horror movie. The dogs can't be dismembered or in danger. Like we would have like these little, don't have them wearing costumes, don't have them holding stuff in their hands. So it was like, it's sort of like handing an artist like a math problem to do. And it was so cool to see so many artists that that we admire, like come along and figure out how to work within that structure. And then, like you said, finding like there were just new artists that we hadn't seen before that just came along and just like knocked out incredible stuff, So yeah, it was very cool. And there's just so many of them, especially for the new one for Dog Days, that it was just like every day we'd be seeing new covers. I mean, from being on the other side of it, that every day you'll be seeing new covers. Trish and I,
your expression is what we would do.
I think for
so good though.
For 2 issues of Dog Days, we did, I think 31 covers.
I think we did almost as many between the 2 issues as we did the whole run. The whole first run.
And there's some that haven't even been released yet. So we release them when they're ours, we just put them out. But the retailers can just, whenever they feel like putting something out. So we're just like, I wonder when that's going to come out. People are going to freak out for that one. So
yeah, like we just saw the Walking Dead one today.
Yeah, they put that up today.
Yeah, I was like, oh, finally, we'll talk about it.
No, I mean, you guys have come up with some absolutely amazing covers. It's been very, very hard to stay within budget and not get every single one of them. So I understand the pains the collectors are going through who want every single cover.
I think there's something for everyone, though. Like, you've got your animation collectors, you've got your horror movie collectors, you've got your people who just like whimsical artwork. I mean, there's 2 for Carnivore, the dog park looking ones. Yeah. They're amazing. I love them. Yeah. They're so charming. And creepy.
Did you all make sure to get, one of every single cover?
I've got Yeah. Yeah. That's what's behind me. All the boxes.
All mine are at FedEx in LA right now. I'm very jealous of Trish's. I went to a comic shop and signed some today because they were putting their orders
entire
out.
short box full.
I didn't see it for today.
And I pulled these out.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
And of course, number 1.
Yes.
Father Henry special. He's so cute.
What can readers sort of expect from this new series of, well, it's not really a new series. It's kind of an addition to Stray Dogs, but it's Stray Dogs Dog Days.
We answer a lot of questions, but moreover, it's just sort of like each of the dogs that was in the master's house, we wanted to be able to give them a bit more personality, and just sort of like the way that the original plot was structured, it had to move very fast. After we had all that out of the way, without doing like a director's cut where you're just like, oh, when's anything going to happen? We could just put this afterwards, sort of like an annual or a special like they used to do, and just be like, here's everything else. So it's not deleted scenes. All of it sort of counts and gives more context to the original story, but it's sort of like you can read the original story, all of the twists and surprises should hit hard, and then you can go like, here, this fills in more context.
or it makes you feel differently. Maybe you go back and read that again with some different knowledge. I read them, of course, as we were doing them, and reread the trade because I do that. I don't read any other books though. I read ours. But like I felt differently. Like I felt stronger feelings toward these characters. You know, I want people to feel something differently. Hopefully they will.
It's definitely an interesting problem that I didn't think about when we started working on it. It was just sort of like, what if a new reader reads this? Like, how do you sell this to a new reader? Or how do you recommend this to a new reader? Like, I think it works as, you know, just sort of short stories about dogs, but it doesn't have the same hook that Stray Dogs #1 has. It's not like oh my God, I got to see what happens next. But hopefully it's enough that you go like, oh, what is this all about? And
let me go pick up the trade real quick.
Yeah, at the last page in the issue is an ad for the trade. So if you're curious, you should just be like, oh, okay, all right, cool.
Stray Dogs, beyond it being just a phenomena, it's a fantastic comic book. But you've also had some really incredible opportunities to use this as a format or an opportunity to then give back to real stray dogs. What sort of things have you been able to do, you know, obviously with, you know, Show Your Soft Side and other organizations?
Well, I'm working on the Show Your Soft Side poster with Virgil. They raise awareness against animal abuse that happens everywhere. And Baltimore used to be like, you would hear a story every other day just about how some poor dog, you know, gets treated, or some cat. Big tough guys would take their picture with a little tiny kitten or like a little puppy. You know, everybody's like, oh, that big guy's not hurting this, you know, little animal. So let's not do that. It's a very good lesson to learn. They also raise money for different charities that help animals in need. And also we support our other charities. I support Champ and what's your charity called?
It's the California Bull Terrier Rescue. That's the dog charity that I give to. But the cool thing about Stray Dogs is that a lot of the fans of the book sort of like rallied around Trish and my causes and would just like donate to not only to our two rescues that we support, but also just sort of like rescues in their local areas. I feel like it was sort of like, instead of doing nothing, you can do the smallest thing you could do is give, you know, a couple of dollars and something. I feel like a lot of people were already doing that. And then when we sort of like pointed them in a direction in Stray Dogs, they were happy to sort of go support our stuff. And that's been great to not just have my own donations going there, but to have people who are fans of Trish and my book to be kicking money their way is very gratifying and makes me feel really good about the book that we did and the fans that we have.
And the retailers do it too. I think,
oh, yeah.
Like Comic Bug did a thing for LA SPCA for
Comic Book Day. They gave thousands of dollars to the ASPCA. Mm-hmm. Crazy.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, it's just really neat to see folks giving back, not just because we said to, but, you know, it was already, they were naturally going to do it, but it was just kind of like Stray Dogs is kind of attached to it somehow. It's just really neat.
I mean, beyond Stray Dogs, because at some point, you know, this series will come to an end soon. So, Tony, you talked a little bit about some of your upcoming projects. You know, are you staying in that same kind of horror realm, or are you trying to change genres to go into something different?
Both of the books that I'm working on are sort of in different genres, but one for sure, and to a certain extent, both of them have sort of like, if you like Stray Dogs, there's something for you here. One of them just has like a adorable dog in it. But one of them's definitely in the same vein as sort of like taking a genre that we understand and what happens if you tell it from an animal's point of view. People will get their first look at those in Dog Days #2. What
about you, Trish? Are you just sticking with My Little Pony and taking a little bit of a respite?
Yeah, initially, like I said, there are some other things with some other creators that are kind of looming out there in the distance that I'm reaching out for. So we'll see how those come along, probably sometime after the first of the year.
And then we're figuring out what, you know.
But it'll be more like little animal characters.
Less murder?
No, probably more murder.
More murder all day, all day?
All day, all day.
Is there something special that you want the fans to know?
Because of how much noise there's been about this book the whole time, because sort of like this book got announced right after Stray Dogs wrapped up, and then that whole time there's sort of been like covers coming out and sort of like talk about it. But during the whole time, Trish has really been working constantly. Like, she works a regular job and then she goes to work on our book as like a second full-time job, not even a part-time job. So I think like part of the reason why I'm so appreciative that people came onto this thing and like really came and supported it was just that like I would have been so mad at myself if Trish would have had to work that long and that hard on her first comic and then have it go like everybody else's first comic goes, where it's just like, like I have a comic out there, I can take it to Comic Cons with me. So like it's just been so cool for me to see like somebody work so hard and be rewarded for it. And it's been, and also just like a great relief to me because, you know, everybody's been in projects or on jobs where like, you know, you're the one that's staying up the latest and working the hardest and stuff like that. And to know on this one that sort of like there's two of us being that guy, or, you know, sometimes 3 or 4 of us, you know, but like everybody worked so hard on this book, and we were basically from the minute Stray Dogs ended, I think we probably took a couple weeks off, but we were constantly
2 weeks.
It was like Stray Dogs ended, and then we had to do trade paperback covers, and then that's pretty much led right up into this book. So we've just been constantly working on this thing for years now, and it's Trish just really, I was so happy to have found a partner and like a collaborator that just really was as hardworking and single-minded and crazy as I am about making comics.
I just wanted to put out a good product. You helped me. You taught me a lot. Now go away. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding.
So did you two meet for the first time on My Little Pony? Or was it on a different project at a Comic-Con random event?
Yeah, we met at BronyCon. Tell them, Trish.
Yeah, we met at BronyCon. Well, 2018 was when we had to talk about the book. But before that, it had just been in passing, you know, ships in the night, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I would go, yeah, I can draw. I drew a pony, you know.
Yeah, she would come up to my tables at pony conventions and sort of give me stuff. Did you design my pony OC?
No, your pony OC was designed by Tim, and yes. I changed some things. But
yeah, you drew the iconic version for BronyCon, and then she would show up. Do you know about pony OCs, Laura?
Oh yeah.
So in My Little Pony fandom, everybody has their own original character, right? And so
it's
like
a pony based on them, their personality.
Based on their personality, and then us coming from the outside, like the comic creators and the voice actors and the people who worked on the show, when we would go do these shows, instead of having headshots, they would just draw us as a pony, our pony original character. And so you get this program, or they up on the website would just be, it's me, but as a pony. Mine was named Pony Fleece.
Super original.
But
hang on, I'm looking for him. I got him.
I'm going to have to Google it. Oh, that's great.
Much more svelte than me. And his hair is darker. That was before all these late nights.
Yeah. Mine has significantly less gray hair. You know, mine has. Yeah. I have more gray hair now than I ever did. Worth it.
But
though.
Yeah, so Trish would come up and say hi at BronyCons before, and then I guess her art book came out in 2018, but I somehow had seen a dog that was in that art book online beforehand. Yeah,
it was probably on Twitter because I had a dog named Nanook. He had passed away. I paid homage to him by drawing him in the clouds at the end of All Dogs Go to Heaven, with the halo and all and the smile. It was such a cool dog. But yeah, so of course.
Yeah.
But that was the image you saw.
It really made an impression. And when I was starting to think about like who would I want to draw a book like this, I was like, I wonder if that lady wants to make, you know, comics about murder.
I'm that nice lady all the way up until like the second book comes out.
So you two, in essence, had been, you know, talking about Stray Dogs before you then kind of worked together on My Little Pony, and then just you were sort of working on both projects at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Trish had done a couple My Little Pony covers when we first talked about Stray Dogs, but she had Stray Dogs 1 is the first comic she ever drew. And then after that, she drew an issue of My Little Pony or two while we were doing the first main series. So
yes, getting all this work knowledge from Tony, you know, on how to do like layouts and make a cool comic And then I was using that knowledge already. My first full experience with interiors was the free comic book day that didn't happen for My Little Pony. 2020.
Yeah. Pandemic year.
Yeah. Womp womp.
Yeah. So do you enjoy doing the interiors along with the covers, or are you looking forward to going back to doing one or the other?
I can handle either one now. I like covers because I like to color and render and do all that stuff too. And I didn't get a lot of that during this, except there are 3 covers that I pretty much fully rendered from start to finish. Issue 1 second print, issue 5 second print, the incentive for Dog Days 2.
So it was meant to be. The PonyCon began it all.
Yeah.
That's right. I will never, ever bag on My Little Pony, because I'm telling you, that series, those ponies have brought me such luck.
Oh, same. Yeah, it was an incredible experience for me, like as like a training ground, and also just a job that I got that came with a built-in fan base that you know, like I made an amazing living for a comic book artist for years just drawing this one children's comic. It was great. So,
do you have a favorite or like a top 3 of all the comic book covers either that you've done or that other people have done?
The Pan's Labyrinth cover. I also liked Evil Dead 2. That one was really fun because there's, you know, Henry getting his little poof squished, and it was like, that was just comedic to me. It wasn't meant to be, but it was just like, I love this cover just for that. Oh, that Tales from the Crypt one with Gucci with this. I don't know why we said not to do this, but they did this anyway, and I was just like, that's fine. It's excellent. It looks so great. Like the motion and the whole piece was just like these paws and that face, and I was just like, yeah, get it.
Yeah, I like a ton of them. I like, and some of ours that aren't out yet are some of my favorites too. So there's a couple of them that are just like sort of looming. I'm like, oh man, I can't wait for this one to come out.
Yeah, I can't wait for anybody to see this incentive one.
Yeah,
I want to have like a guess the homage game for it. Yeah, nobody gets it on the first try.
I think my favorite of the original ones is the issue 4 B cover, the Demons homage variant.
Oh yeah,
I liked a lot, and I just like the issue 1 cover. Like I'm really happy with like conceptually how that came out, because you see it everywhere. Like when the book's on top 10 lists or whatever, like you see the issue 1 cover. I like the way that it holds up. I really like it. It's simple.
It's incredibly iconic. So I love it. And I like that the incentive variant for Dog Days is the door open.
It's like the circle came all the way back around.
Exactly. So I wonder if for Dog Days 2, you're going to have the door closed.
We've got another matching one, but it's man, that would have been much easier if we just did a closed door. Laura, where were you?
I'm here.
We needed this idea a week ago.
No worries. I'm here whenever you all need me.
Okay. Well, we'll check with you.
I want to say thank you again. This has been an absolute pleasure. I really, really appreciate your time. And I can't wait for everyone else to get a chance to read Dog Days. It's a phenomenal series. It's, of course, very well done, very well drawn. Love it. And I think everyone else is going to love it too. So thank you, of course, for sharing these stories with us.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for reading and for spreading the good word. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. You keep creating it. I'll keep reviewing it. No problem. Thank you again.
Yeah, you bet.